Welcome to Vital 100 Wellness with Dr. Bob, the podcast designed to take your health to the next level.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Dr. Bob Johnson, and we're going to go over a very important health discussion in this podcast that has to do with why maintain your health and what you can do to not only recover, but maintain your health. Whether you value your health, whether you want to really work at it, why would someone really want to be healthy? I mean, it sounds like a very obvious question, but a lot of people, they just kind of flow with the way that they really want to function in life, meaning they don't take care of their health, they stay up all hours, they take recreational drugs, they're on many pharmaceuticals, they don't care about their diet, whatever tastes good is their food of choice. Well, we want to discuss why you should take care of your health. And as I've said before, the biggest impediment to health is one, lack of knowledge or misinformation. So that's what my podcast here is focused on, to give you the right information and allow you to make decisions. But you really, if you want to be healthy, have to decide if indeed getting healthy is worth the price. Meaning, do you want to eat anything that comes down, onto your plate? Do you want to do pretty much anything you want, never take any supplements, or don't exercise? Exercise is a big thing because people don't want to put the effort in. So we're going to go over today, first of all, why you want to and what are the benefits of truly being healthy. Healthy comes with an effort. It doesn't just happen. It comes with an effort, and you've got to pretty much work on it. It doesn't have to be all the time, but if you have certain healthy routines, you're going to live longer and benefit from good health. So first of all, let's talk about the benefits of good health. The benefits include reduced expenses for costs of doctor visits and expensive surgical procedures. Also to have energy throughout your life. Isn't that exciting that you have no limitations on your energy? You can do things that you want to do without thinking, geez, I don't have the get up and go that I used to have. Other advantages are that you don't want to spend years going in and out of doctor's offices. It certainly is nice to spend doing other things to not only have better energy, but also not be wondering whether you're going to get cancer or diabetes, because these things are generally preventable. And so it's a good idea to know how to do that. And as I said, the benefits of good health, that you're going to reap those benefits if you put a little effort into your health. Also, as I tell people, if you live an extra 10, 15, 20 years because of what you've done to preserve your health and to take care of it, imagine all that you can accomplish from about 70 up to 100 or more. I'm seeing so many people in the news that die in their 60s and 70s, even their early 80s, that don't have to because they just didn't take care of their health. So it's so important to put some effort into health. It doesn't have to be an onerous thing where you have to spend 24/7 just doing healthy things, but it can be a great advantage of having great health to the expected life expectancy of what we now consider living to 100 or more. I know quite a few people who have lived to 100, lived to even more than that in great health. There is there was a study out a couple years ago that came up with the idea that the average U.S. citizen spent 90% of their healthcare dollars in the last 6 months of their life. Wouldn't it be nice not to have to spend that going to expensive surgeries, having ambulance visits, those kind of things? Of course, those do occasionally happen, but they really, for the most part, don't need to have that happen. So there is such an advantage to being healthy and enjoying those around you for the rest of your life. My goal is to live well into my 100th decade, or my 100 years and in that decade, and be healthy. Of course, no one lives forever, but you can truly be healthy into well into your 100 years. So what I do is I divide ways that you can not only recover your health, but also that you can maintain it into two categories. The first category is the basics that everybody needs to be doing. These basics include getting good sleep, reducing stress in your life, eating nutritious foods, getting a good level of athletic pursuit, or at least a physical activity, avoiding things that are known to be very toxic, which increases as we go through our life. These are the fundamentals. Drinking a lot of water, not polluting yourself with things like tattoos or excessive alcohol consumption or recreational drugs. Now, I recognize that people like to do these things, and we should enjoy the journey. But when you drink excessive alcohol, or you're constantly getting high on recreational drugs, these are things that pollute your body. Tattoos is a toxin put under your skin that's there 24/7. So there are things that the fundamentals you can do that are very important. Let's talk about a couple of these. The first is drinking plenty of water. We are 70% water, our bodies, and it's very common to have people dehydrated. And not only because they're dehydrated because they do things that aren't hydrating, but also because they don't drink enough water. As we get older, we lose that thirst mechanism that says, you're thirsty, drink water. And people many times consider it, or the body interprets it as they are hungry. So they eat more, but they drink less water. So drinking good filtered water, and that will be a discussion later on, is how to get good filtered water, is very, very important. So drinking water on a regular basis is good, and to minimize the things that dehydrate us. Athletes, people out in the heat and so forth, need more water because they very easily get dehydrated. So it's important to consider your level of activity and drink the water that goes along with it. People ask me, well, I forget to drink water and so forth. But if you carry around a water bottle, or you have certain times of the day where you drink water, going to bed, waking up in the morning, around activities that involve physical exertion, those are all times when you're going to have to drink water. One time where it's not good to drink water is during a meal. The reason being is because you're diluting your digestive enzymes, which are, and hydrochloric acid, which are very, very important for good nutrient absorption and to prevent reflux. Again, we'll go more into this at a later podcast. So let's talk about physical activity. Our bodies are meant to be physically active. The muscles need it. The lymph drainage, which is our second circulatory system, really does need activity, physical activity. So it's important to be physically active, whatever that is. I tell people, find activities that you like to do. If you don't like to run, if you don't like to go and lift weights at the gym or whatever, find something that you like to do. Play pickleball or get on the basketball court or ride a bike. Find things that you like to do that you're going to definitely want to go do and not resist doing. Physical activity is absolutely critical. What's interesting is I was a national class athlete in the 80s and 90s. I ran the Olympic trials in the marathon, and in retrospect, the training that I needed to put in to do that, to qualify for that, was excessive. And so excessive workout, which I can tell you not many people do, but excessive workout creates a lot of the stress hormone in the body, which can be taking years off your life and jeopardizing health. But anyways, that's important, is physical activity. Getting enough sleep. Sleep is absolutely critical. Your bedroom should be a place for healing. 7-8 hours a day. So if you skip it, if you're not getting deep, restful sleep, if you sleep where the light wakens you up when you've had less than the optimum amount of sleep, these are all things that interfere with optimal sleep, and to consider that sleeping is indeed a time of recovery from the day before. And if you're not recovering, if you're not healing your slow degeneration, that is going to be really detrimental to health and longevity. God, when I was in professional school and undergrad school, I thought that getting the less sleep and being able to study more was what I should do. How wrong I was. And I realized that sleep now is so important to my overall health and well-being and longevity. In fact, one of the biggest things as our population ages is how well your brain is doing. And if you're not getting the sleep, you're destroying the brain. You're destroying your ability to heal the nervous system, of which obviously the brain is part of. So it's important to get the sleep. It's important to eat good nutrients, and that's a whole level discussion for the future. It's important to digest, to drink enough water, to get physical activity, to reduce stress. Just to briefly cover this, reducing stress is, and stress can be internal, meaning that you could have a lot of pain, you could have not be eating right, digesting right. These are all stresses that the body jeopardizes its own health. Or external stresses, relationships, money stresses. These are things that you should try to reduce stress, because the stress hormone, which is called cortisol, if it's there short term, meaning a quick stress that you need to react, that's fine. It protects us. But if you're under chronic stress, you're always stressed, you're always feeling very stressed, then this is not good, and it causes your body to heal very, to degenerate very quickly. We've all seen how presidents in their 4 or 8 years, how quickly they age in that time frame because of all the stresses that they're living. So not only is it important to reduce stress, internal and external stress, but it's also important to be able to know how the activities that you do will reduce stress. For me, going out for a workout is wonderful stress reduction. Meditating, doing yoga, reading a book, seeing a movie are all ways to reduce stress. And as I tell people who say, I don't have enough time to do something that I like to do, is you've got to find it. Whether it's 10 or 15 minutes, whether it's half an hour or an hour, you've got to find things that you like to do. So I tell people, put down a list of things you like to do and put one of those in your life at least 3 or 4 times a week, maybe once a day. And that will help you reduce stress. So those are all the fundamental things that everyone really needs to do if they desire being healthy, having a long life. You can't avoid those things, those fundamental health activities, if you want to live a long, healthy life and benefit from what that brings you. An extra 20 years, to be pain-free, to have great energy, to go on trips, to meet people that you want to meet. These are all fundamental things that you need to do to be healthy. Now, the other category that I talked about is one of finding out what are the specific things that you indeed have going on. They involve your genetics. Maybe you have a weakness in genetics that develops diabetes or develops cancer or heart disease or anything like that. There are specific things that you personally need to do more than others. And so it's very important to find the diagnostic tools, the assessment tools that can find out what your weaknesses are. With my clients, I have an assessment tool that can find out all the issues that people have in about 15 to 20 minutes, non-invasively, very quickly, and prioritizes. So some people who have specific infections, they may have parasite infections, or they have nutrient deficiencies or leaky gut or any number of things. We can find these things out specifically for you and correct them. That's the important thing, is to find out what's specific for you that other people may not have. Maybe you come from a country where you have a great exposure to parasites, or you come from a country where you have a long winter and you get depressed. These are things that we find out with the more detailed, more specific assessment tools that can help us indeed determine what issues that you have that you must recover from or you must prevent. Let's briefly talk about genetics. There are 2 terms that are important: your genotype and your phenotype. Genotype is what your genes have programmed for you. You may have a family history of cancer or diabetes or something of that nature. And by finding these out with a genetic evaluation, which we now are capable of doing, you can find out what your genotype is. So if you have a family gene proclivity to develop cardiovascular disease, you better be doing things like good exercise, having a pristine diet, taking things that cause your blood vessels to dilate and keep your blood pressure normal. So these are the things that are important with genotype, to find out what your genes have in store for you and work very hard at those. The other term, phenotype, is how your genotype interacts with your environment. Like I said, if you have a family history of cardiovascular disease, what you have to do, what you have to eat, your lifestyle, to be able to overcome your genetic weaknesses. And we all have those. I'm reminded of a story that, and I always hear this from people. I hear that I had a grandmother who smoked every day, and she drank a fifth of alcohol every day, and she lived to 103. Well, these people are genetic Olympic gold medalists. They can withstand everything, but very few people have that phenotype, that genotype, to be able to resist those things. Most of us have to work very hard at it. We need the physical activity. We need the good diet. We need the hydration. We need the sleep. We need the stress reduction. Those are all very important for the vast majority of us, and also to be able to prevent these genetic problems that we have. Other assessment tools are, you can do blood tests. Now, what's a problem with blood tests is that there's certain assessments that, do you have a wide range of things that everything is fine on the blood test, or do you have a very narrow assessment that anything above that needs to be addressed? So clinical values versus the values that are accepted, where almost 90% of the population is within those values. That is not the way to assess with blood tests. The urine test, the hair analysis, the simple exams, the acupuncture, the Chinese medicine assessments, where they assess the tongue, they assess the pulse of a person, they assess the way the person looks. Visual examination is very important. They do lab tests, like they may do a tongue scraping or cheek scraping. So these are all tests that are very important to do on a regular basis. A stool analysis will tell you a lot about the basic microbiome, the good bacteria in the gut. These are all things that are important, that are specific, that tell us specifically. So in looking at the two categories, the fundamentals that everyone needs to do if they value their health. And the second thing is the specific assessments that we should do on a regular basis. Speaking something more specifically, it's indoctrinated into everybody that we should go to the dentist. I am a retired dentist. To go to the dentist and get a checkup. So there are certain things with our health that we should do to go for a checkup. There are more specific things that are more holistic, that are very, very detailed, and they come up with things that are very early in our health issues, as opposed to allopathic medicine, which waits till we have a problem, for the most part, waits till we have a problem, and then put a label on it and give a drug du jour. Now, occasionally that's right, but more often than not, we should be assessing things with traditional Chinese medicine, with the technology that I talked about, the electrodermal screening. These are things that you can find out very early, one, to prevent or to reverse very quickly, how to achieve a very healthy life. And I mean, let's face it, prevention or very early intervention where the end result is predictable and is very easy to achieve, or the cost is extremely less. As I said earlier, we spend most of our time at the end of our life, most of our time and costs involved in recovery from very severe illnesses, whether it's heart bypass or cancer surgery with chemotherapy, those kind of things. So it just makes a lot of sense to be able to prevent illness or intercept it early, which traditional healthcare does not have that capability to do that. They take care of the acute problems. You know, if you get into an automobile accident and you break your leg or something of that nature, yes, it's nice to have traditional medicine, allopathic medicine, repair the bone fracture or help you recover with severe issues. But the chronic long-term issues are better evaluated and better treated, better assessed with not only the fundamental things we talked about, but also with being able to detect early problems coming up. So if someone or if you have a whole family, a history of diabetes, you better be very careful and consistently check your blood sugar, your ability to handle insulin, those kind of things. Incidentally, with diabetes, the brain is one of the most susceptible things to sugar handling problems. In fact, they now call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes as opposed to the type 1, which is childhood diabetes, and type 2, which is adult onset diabetes. So to be able to find out these things very early and have very productive, very enjoyable, low-cost health care, you should look at prevention and or early interception, which are the things that we'll address here. One of the big things that we're going to talk about is supplementation, vitamin, minerals, homeopathics. These are things that are going to help you maintain good health for many, many years. And so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the other things to be able to specifically assess and to address your health issues before they become major complications. This podcast we're going to do weekly is so important to get the issues so that you make good decisions for yourself. I'm a big proponent of learning, educating yourself, because the more information that you know about anything, about technology, about your health, about how to take care of your car, how to take care of whatever is in your life, how to communicate well with people, build relationships, take care of your finances. The more information you have, the better decisions you make for yourself. And this includes healthcare. The more information you have, not just follow some rule. I saw it on TV that if I have this, I need to take this drug. If you know more information, you're going to make good decisions in terms of your health, and keep your health in good in a good condition prior to you needing heart bypass or cancer therapy or struggle with diabetes or continual high blood pressure or even autoimmune diseases, which we'll talk about in great detail. So this podcast will be put out every week, and I am priding myself in the fact that I will give you straight information, the latest information, to be able to help you with what's available and to explore what's available. Everybody doesn't need the same diet, but to explore what's going to work for you, what type of exercise, what type of food, what supplements are always good to be able to make the good decisions and to maintain and prevent health problems from occurring. So till next week, I hope you have a wonderful, healthy time, and to keep learning, as health is absolutely critical to maintaining an enjoyable life. And as I've always said in my blogs, to enjoy the journey.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Vital 100 Wellness with Dr. Bob. Be sure to visit our website at vital100wellness.com for more ways to listen and to explore additional health resources. If you have any questions for Dr. Bob or feedback and suggestions for the podcast, you can email us at info@vital100wellness.com.